Great. Bing, bong, bing. All right. So, pretend this is your book. Let me try that again. Oh, geez. So we didn't do any of this, eh? Mm-hmm. Okay. We need to do it though. Okay. We won't do it. So pretend this is your page. Your book is landscape. Please have your book kind of open like this so you can actually see top and bottom. Cool. Please write at the top of this page, Spartosaurus again. Spartasaurus. This word is not a real word. I made it up, but it's funny, and we're going to stick to it. Spartosaurus. That's going to be the name of the dinosaur that you're going to make. It's going to be Spartosaurus. There is no such thing as a Spartosaurus. I call it Spartosaurus because Strathcona Tweedsmuir School is known as the Spartans. You guys can make the connection. Please nod your head if you understand what I'm saying. Cool. Okay, great. So, this is the page you're going to draw on. This is the page you're not going to draw on. Please point at that page. All right. Now, go on to that page. Go on to the page we never draw on. Go on to the page we never draw on. The one that you didn't write Spartosaurus on. All right. Correct. Please point at it right now so I know we're all actually good. Yeah, I think so. All right, good. So it's the one you didn't write Spartosaurus on. Cool. So, please write the word questions. And then underline it. So these are the questions I want you to answer in your drawing. Ready? 1. Land, comma, air, comma, water. Question mark. If you've written this, you're nodding your head. Good. What this question is asking you is, where does your Spartosaurus find itself traveling most of the time? So the answer could be the Spartosaurus that you want to design in clay today. Is it an underwater Spartosaurus, like a mosasaur or a megalodon, and it swims underwater? Could it be like a Spinosaurus or like an alligator? Spinosaurus, it lives in the swamps. It mainly hunts fish. It's comfortable in the water and on land, supposedly. Alligators have evolved, and alligators exist today, but there is a lot of research that indicates the evolution of the alligator since the Jurassic time is not so different from what it is now. Size might be different. You might have other information about alligators and crocodiles, but there are prehistoric remnants of animals that look identical to crocodiles as they exist right now. So a crocodilian-styled animal that is comfortable in the water and on land could be the Spartosaurus you design. Please nod your head if you understand what I'm saying. Great. Your Spartosaurus could live primarily on land. It could be like a forest-dwelling dinosaur. It could live in the trees. It could burrow. It could be a burrowing animal. It could be an animal that lives in the desert. It could be an animal that lives on the plains and foothills. It could be predatory. It could be prey. It could be a carnivore, an omnivore, or a herbivore. All sorts of different options. It could live in the mountains. Could someone give me another example of a land living dinosaur that I haven't described yet? Just take a chance. I mean, I need to feel like you guys are involved in this decision too. So what do you think, Clara? Yeah, so it could be like a tree living dinosaur. Ella? Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think based on all the information I've given you now? What would you reference? So like it could be like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, or it could be like an ankylosaur. An ankylosaur is that big spiky dude with the big tail that has like a big ball on the end of it that it would swing around and smash dudes. It could be a triceratops. It could be a stegosaurus. Triceratops is a plant eater that has a beak on the end of its mouth, and it's got that big frilled plate. It's actually what we drew. So those could be land. Can someone give me an example of an air-based dinosaur? Sahil. Pterodactyl, exactly. That's like from the Flintstones. And you know, a pterodactyl, it kind of looks like, if you can see quick, I think you guys know. So it's got like a long beak like this, and it's got a little eye, and it comes down, and its tummy, and then whoop. Trying to be quick. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like pterodactyl? All right, cool. So yeah, like a pterodactyl. There is a lot of research that suggests that velociraptors, T-Rex, Arcteryx, dinosaurs like that, their skin was feathers, or there was feathers on their body. And so that could be an option too, which leads us into the next question. So what I want you to do is, in the drawing you're doing today, I want you to establish where your dinosaur lives. Okay? Because we can make it out of clay, provided you can draw it. Everybody say, okay, cool. Next. Question number 2. Please write down carnivore, spelling is not critically important, but it would be good if you spelled it right. Carnivore, herbivore, or omnivore. Right on, Aubrey. Right on, Eric. Again, I don't want you to worry about spelling, but it would help if you were spelling it correctly, just so you could understand what those words refer to. And I'm going to ask you what those words refer to. Something tells me some of you guys know. So in terms of carnivore, what is a carnivore? Mr. Horseman? It's a meat eater. Yep, it's a primarily meat eater. All the vitamins, proteins, nutrients that animal receives is from meat. Does anyone know of an example of a carnivore that lives on the planet right now? Sahil? Crocodile, yep. Olivia? Yes, I believe you're right. I believe a tiger is primarily a carnivore. Merrick? Or a shark. Or Lauren? Wolves, yep, good. So a carnivore is a meat eater and only meat. What's a herbivore? What's a herbivore? Could someone tell me what a herbivore is? Thea? Correct, an animal that eats only plants. Can someone give me an example of a herbivore? Claire? A horse, absolutely. Same hands all the time. Eric, herbivore. Cow, you betcha. Lauren? Yep, giraffe, camel. Do you know a camel only has bottom teeth? Doesn't even have top teeth. It just grinds. And finally, an omnivore. Please point at an omnivore. Correct. Homo sapiens, the human species, The species that we belong to are omnivores. We've been evolutionarily developed to be able to take proteins and nutrients from plants and animals. Now, as a civilized society, there's been decisions made by certain individuals to be only a herbivore, to choose to be a vegetarian or a vegan. That would put you in the position of having a herbivore style diet, but that's a case by case basis. As a species, the fact is the human species, which is developed as a mammal from our chimpanzee ancestors, are omnivores. Dia, did you have something to point out, or did you just want to address that you were a vegetarian? And I can't hear what you're saying. Correct, correct. So I answered what you were going to say. Yep, great. So you're going to have to make a decision about what your Spartosaurus eats, and it's going to show up probably in its mouth. Next, number 3 is skin. Skin, and then a dash, fur, scales, skin, feathers. Yeah, I did, but I guess the reason I put it twice is like I'm using skin here as the surface of the animal in itself. So some of you might want to design it just that the skin is like a leathery type of skin, right? Some of you might want to design it so that there's scales on it. Some of you might want to design it so that there's feathers or fur. So if you are leaning towards like a saber-toothed tiger, which you're welcome to make, if you're leaning towards a woolly mammoth, you're also welcome to make that. It doesn't necessarily find itself in the Jurassic period. I think it's like the greater, yeah. And that if that's the animal that you are eager to make, I support it. Cool? Cool. So you have to make that decision. And the last one, I believe that I really want to come to terms with is limbs. Limbs. Now, can anyone point out a bipedal animal? A bipedal animal. I'm going to challenge you guys to answer. I see a lot of bipedal animals as opposed to quadrupedal animals. Some of you own quadrupedal animals, but I see a lot of bipedal animals. And pedal is spelt like pedal. And what goes on a pedal? Your foot, right? So what is bipedal? What do you think I mean by bipedal? Take a risk. Be wrong, be right. Who cares? Ella? Something about them, yes. Bipedal and quadrupedal refers to how you move around. So what do you think? So quad means 4, that's right. And bi, so what do you think bipedal refers to? Linus? Walking on? Exactly. Walking on 2. 2 of your limbs you're using to walk. What would quadrupedal mean? Dia? Correct. What does millipedal mean? I think I just made it up. Shamil? No, millipede. Oh. Centipedal. Millipedal. Kennedy? Yeah, like thousands of legs. like to call a millipede because there's so many legs you can't even count them, and they call a centipede because there's a ton of legs. And what I want you to decide upon is your animal going to be walking on 2 legs like an Arcteryx or like a Tyrannosaurus Rex with his little Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, or is it going to be quadrupedal like a horse, or like a saber-tooth, or like a dog, or like a Triceratops or a Protoceratops or a Stegosaurus, or a Brachiosaurus or a Brontosaurus, or an Ankylosaurus. So, limbs. So the question is, if you wrote limbs, then put a little dash and then arms, comma, legs, comma, wings, comma, tail, question mark. So what I'm referring to in this is your animal going to have wings? Is your animal going to have a tail? Is your animal going to walk on 2 legs or 4 legs? Is it going to have 2 legs and 2 arms? These are the questions that I want you to answer in your drawing. Number 5, I'll answer Ella's question and then I'll go on to number 5. Ella?
What about like sharks? They don't have any legs.
Oh, everybody say thank you, Ella. So,
They have fins.
yeah, we'll just say fins. So, arms, legs, wings, tail, oops, comma, fins. Nice, Ella.
But what about worms though? They don't have anything. And snakes and worms. They just go like.
Very good question. If you want to do a snake, then you'd put none. I don't think you should spend the next month of your time in ceramics just making a worm, because you could make it. Here, look. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, look, here's my worm. All right, approaching expectation. So anyway, fins are great too. Ella, another question.
Okay. This is about the shark thing. Like you were talking about like them being able to do all stuff. What would that be?
A shark?
Yeah.
And how, what it uses to walk around? I don't know. Just swims, I guess. It's something worth looking up. That's a good question. Looks like I'm going to learn something today. I look forward to learning it. What do they call the process in which a shark or fish transports itself? It's not quadrupedal. Finally, number 5. I'm going to put number 5. Guys, don't lose me. Other details. Other details would refer to horns. Oops. Horns. Sorry. Horns, antlers, spikes. What other details are significant enough that you feel it's worth bringing up in terms of the other details? Like a Spinosaurus has a big fin on its back, right? So I'll call that like a fin. So the fact that I'm putting fin there, obviously, if you're doing an underwater animal, it would have fins. But some land animals, like a Spinosaurus, has a big fin on its back. So what else could we add for other details? Linus? Gordon? Did I call you Linus the last time too?
Yeah.
Sorry, Gordo. I agree. Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. Gills too. But that could fit in here too, Gordon, because perhaps you could have like a mud skipper style of animal. A mud skipper it's a fish that exists today, right? A mud skipper, it can transport itself over land even though it's a fish. Much like I was in New Zealand, and in New Zealand there's a lot of eels, and these eels are very popular. It's a very popular animal in New Zealand, And these eels are born and they live the first portion of their life in fresh water, and they will slither across land to get into the salt water to then live the rest of their lives in salt water. They return to lay their eggs, much like the salmon do, but they have gills and they can also walk on land, which kind of is like our long lost ancestor as well. So other details besides horns, antlers, spikes, fins, gills, Merrick? Beaks, nice. Anything else, Kenny? Blowholes. Jeez Louise, yo, geniuses. Blowholes. Anything else? Clarabelle? Claws. Yeah. Ella?
What is like the thing with the Triceratops?
Yeah, what would we call that? Crest?
That's what I said. I don't know. Crest?
Yeah, crest. That's, or a plate.
Wait, yeah.
What word can we all agree on that makes us understand what I'm talking about instead of me putting my hands over my head like a goofball? This thing. Should we call it a plate?
Yeah. I like this thing. It's like plates are the thing, like the, you know, with the Stegosaurus, how it has plates on them?
You're right.
Oh,
My girl. Aubrey, you're on fire today, girl. Right on. Like,
I read way too much.
and not in a bad way, in a good way. Now listen, Aubrey, don't catch on fire every day because that's going to cost a lot. So this is Spinosaurus, right? And it's got this fin on its back, right? This is a Triceratops. This is the plate I'm referring to. But just like Aubrey had mentioned, like this is kind of a weird looking Stegosaurus. I'm not really sure what exactly it is. But like an ankylosaur too has these plates all over its back. So I'm going to refer to this as a plate. Is that okay, guys? Good. And this would be like skin and not necessarily scales. That's another plate. Is that a Carnosaur? Carnosaur? Yeah, it looks like a T-Rex a bit. We can figure it out. And woolly mammoth. So this is like a woolly mammoth.
I have a question.
Yes, you have a lot of questions.
Dinosaurs have scales or skin?
Looks like skin to me. Looks like skin. So plates. I'm just going to put plates down. I'm sure there's a lot more details we could add too, but I think we're at a stage right now where I have to honor your brains. And I can see some of your creative brains already firing in a way that you want me to stop talking so that you can start drawing. And I support that. It's exactly the two of you that I'm thinking of. So, little angels, here's what we're going to do. I want you to put a good 20 minutes into establishing what you're going to do with your Spartosaurus. So I want you to start drawing it. I would say the first thing you need to do is commit to where it lives. Does it live underwater? Does it live in the swamp? Does it live on land? Does it live in the trees? Does it live in the mountains? Does it live in the foothills? Does it live in the desert? Does it fly in the sky? Once you've established that, then you're drawing, okay? And you're welcome to use your laptops that you did bring. You're actually going to need them, so we'll go get them right away. And we'll go from there. But questions before we go. Adelie. Those are all on-land animals right there, except for the Spinosaurus. What?
They were like water and land.
Well, the Spinosaurus is a water and land animal. We addressed that. Listen, this class is anxious to get going. So I don't want any, can we get going, silly questions or anything like that. I can answer that personally to you, Adelie, but I actually already did. So, as soon as we're done these two questions, we're going to go get our laptops. Shamil.
Can the dinosaur live in more than one place?
Yes. Merrick.
Oh,
So So we are going to make the place though. We are going to start with a piece of clay that's right behind Ella right now. And we're going to start building off of that place. So what I want you to do right now, turn your brain onto a sense of urgency in regards to, I have an idea for this. I want to build this idea. I want to get after it. But we have to go get our laptops. So let's go get them, and then let's get back to work.
Why do we need our laptops?
Because we're going to take pictures of, we're going to take, we're going to take pictures of, this is a good unit. Are you guys still doing dinosaurs in grade 4?
Yeah, we just got done. We were done not too long ago.
Perfect. So I can work off that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I have to end this. Yeah.